what I'm talking about. So yesterday I posted some very, very damning evidence to bots in multiplayer. And what I showed you, they are bots. They're just not Activision bots. Let me kind of explain what happened. And you can go back and watch yesterday's video for context here. But I had no idea this stuff even existed until several people pointed it out in the comment section. I don't even understand why it's a thing. And I don't know how to research this stuff. I don't know how to look it up. And I don't really watch a lot of other people's videos. I'm a busy guy posting a video a day. So I want to apologize first and foremost for misleading you here. It was not my intention. Trust me, I misled myself. But basically, what I showed you in yesterday's video, those were bots. Those just weren't Activision bots. You can pay money, real money, to go into a bot lobby and like grind for camos in this chalked ass series. So as you guys can hear there, I've corrected myself weeks ago, and I've tried to correct myself every step of the way whenever people correct me or whatever, if I find out new information, whatever. But I still need to make this video, sadly, because Exclusive Ace covered my AI bot claims and tried to debunk them. And I want to just kind of cover what he covered here as sort of a retort, and I want to keep this completely respectful. No shade whatsoever. He was very respectful. And if you've watched my content any amount of time, you know I reference his stuff all the time. Like I trust his data. Like he's the guy I go to for data on Call of Duty. And don't want to make this disrespectful whatsoever, but I do want to address some of the claims he made and just kind of, I don't know, go over everything. And I want to go over this as Anthony and not blame Truth, and just kind of break the fourth wall a little bit if I can. Because I think we are both a little guilty here of not being able to do as much research as we can before we made these videos. Like 100%, I'll admit with you guys, like I sometimes don't have time to do all the research I want. Sometimes I don't know where to do the research. Sometimes I don't know how to do the research. Call of Duty is such a mystery nowadays. Everything is kind of hidden from us, from the devs' point of view, from Activision's point of view. And it makes it very, very hard to get concrete anything. Like I have to get matchmaking information from guys like Exclusive Ace, from guys like Drifter, when this should be supplied directly from the source, Activision, Demonware, and all the dev teams that work on Call of Duty. We're just now getting that. We're still waiting on that, actually, so I shouldn't even say we've gotten it. But I constantly have to like work with the community to find out what's going on. And I want you guys to correct me. I want you guys to show me where I am mistaken so I can correct it in the next video. And you know, if you've watched the AI bot videos or any other videos of mine, like if you guys correct me on something, I address it the next video and I correct myself. The thing is that there's no like Call of Duty encyclopedia to open to find the information I'm looking for. I feel like I'm doing a research paper a lot of the times when I make these videos, but like I don't have a way to actually find the information I'm looking for. So I have to come up with theories on what I think's happening, and then someone will correct me, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have even thought of that. Like, I just play the game, man. Most of the stuff I don't even know exists until one of you guys tell me. I didn't know that there were like paid bot lobbies. I had no idea that was even a thing, because the idea itself is so ridiculous to me. Like, unless I stumble upon it accidentally, I'm never gonna look it up. For example, I don't play that way, so I would have never known until you guys told me. And then the next video, I correct myself, and I'm like, okay, well, there's definitely bots in this game, but they're not Activision bots. And I said that. I don't think Exclusive Ace watched the entire videos, which is fair. They can be long, and we're both busy this time of year, so I get it. In some instances, I could have done my research better without even depending on you guys before making the videos. 100%, I'll admit that. I just found something Googling it that I didn't think I could even find by Googling it, because it's such a ridiculous thing to Google, but I'll get to that in a bit. It's very clear, I think, if you watch all the AI bot videos, that, I mean, it's a conspiracy theory. 100%, it's a conspiracy theory. I'm having fun making the videos, and I've even said this in one of those videos, I think, that I find it more fun to research this and just mess around with it than I do playing the game. The actual game it's fucking boring. Like, you know, a lot of us here, and even on his channel as well, are in the same boat. We're like, we're already tired of the game. Nothing interesting is happening. So I'd like to cover this. It's kind of like Finding Bigfoot. And yes, some of the titles I use are a little extreme. And yes, I get a little crazy and I go Alex Jones and I put the goofy conspiracy theory music behind it. I think it's very clear that First and foremost, I'm trying to be entertaining with this. Like, this topic lets me be creative and it lets me make entertaining content, and that's the first and foremost and only real motive I have with this, is like, I want you guys to be entertained. But I do think it's a possibility, a very real possibility, that yes, AI bots are in the game. Like, some weird stuff's happened I can't explain. Probably just coincidence, but I like covering it. It's fun. I don't know what else to say other than it's fun to cover, because the game is not very fun right now. And if you take nothing else away from this video, just take that away, you know? But let's get into the actual claims here, because I want to just kind of address what he addresses and give some counterpoints, and I'll give a summarization of everything, I guess, at the very end via a comment I left on his video in case he doesn't watch this one or whatever. So without further ado, let's roll some of his footage, and I will address it after the fact.
And there are several examples that he brings up that are supposed to undeniably prove that there are AI bots in multiplayer. And the first thing is he was running into players with Activision IDs that don't have the hashtag and the number after them. This has been the case since Modern Warfare 2019. There's plenty of people, myself included, that don't have a hashtag or a number after their name. And I promise, I'm a real person. I'm not an AI bot. Do I know exactly why this hashtag disappears? No, I don't know how to recreate that. I don't know what caused that. But I know for myself, and I'm also sure there's many of you guys watching the video right now that also don't have that hashtag and number after their name.
So this is a weird one, because I think I corrected myself the very next video on that. I was just kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what stuck with that theory. It's just a theory. No proof whatsoever. I'm just spitballing, you know? And I didn't know why there weren't like numbers after the Activision ID. I thought that was maybe something linked to it, but I was wrong. And I didn't even think to Google this. I actually Googled this, and there's an answer. Like, who? I don't know. That's on me, though. I should have probably Googled something as ridiculous as this question. I just didn't think there would actually be an answer when I did Google it. And from what Ace said there, I don't think he knows why either. Like he said, he doesn't know why either. I don't think he's thought to Google this either. So it's just a weird thing I was wrong on. I corrected myself after, though. I don't know. Let's get to the next point.
Next up, we have players that in reverse boosted lobbies, so the lowest of low skill lobbies, they're doing strange things like just running into walls constantly, or spinning in circles, or just randomly throwing grenades or shooting their gun up in the air and just sort of like spinning around or moving randomly. And this one is easily explained by the anti-kick AFK scripts that are available online. I'm obviously not here to advertise any of these, but a simple Google search will show that companies offer anti-AFK scripts that allow you to just search for a game, set your controller down, run this script, and then you can just walk away from it. And it will keep your player from being kicked for being AFK, and in the process, it grinds Battle Pass XP for you, because in order to progress your Battle Pass, you literally just have to exist in the game. And on top of that, this is also a form of reverse boosting, because obviously your player is just going to be doing nothing in the game aside from running around, spinning, shooting, that kind of stuff. And obviously your character will die a bunch, which will put you into the lower tier lobbies. And then of course, if you are reverse boosting into those lobbies, that's where you're going to run into these people running these scripts, which we know exist.
Now this is a weird one, because I don't think, at least it's not verified, that any of the clips I showed where this is happening, I don't think it's ever been verified those are reverse boosted lobbies. In fact, if you look at the scores to these clips I showed, it's like dead even. And that was the whole point, and why I brought these clips up was that, hey, this is happening in matches where it's like dead even, and it almost looks like sabotage or something. It looks very bizarre, you know? It's strange. That's why I brought it up. So I'm not sure where he got the whole, like, these are reverse boosted lobbies or whatever. Like, these are clips I pulled off of Twitter from various people, from Reddit, off various people, in what looks to be close matches. And there's no way we can tell these are reverse boosted lobbies or not. But seeing as the scores are as close as they are, through deductive reasoning, I think it's safe to assume that these aren't reverse boosted lobbies. But, I mean, who knows, man? We still don't even know how the matchmaking works, so whatever. But, and also, going to the AFK scripts thing, again, that's something, I'm sorry, guys, I'm out of the loop or whatever. I don't know if I'm just old or what, but I legit don't know about any of this stuff, man. I'm an old school gamer. I hop on, I play the game, I go to Reddit and talk about the game, or I see stuff on Twitter or whatever. If I don't see this stuff, I don't know it exists. I don't know how to even, like, look it up, you know what I mean? Like, how do I even Google, like, what do I Google? Why is this guy running around in circles in my Rust game? Like, how do I find that out? I had no idea this AFK script thing was even a thing. right-handed God, man. A lot of this stuff, truthfully, again, I upload this and then I depend on you guys to correct me if you know about it, and then I'll correct myself in the next video. And I think you know, if you've watched the videos, I've done that.
Research. After that, let's get into his second video with more undeniable proof of these AI bots in multiplayer. And the first one is from Terminal, where this player, who, based on his movement, doesn't really appear to be a very confident player, we'll say. He's moving around underneath the plane, and then suddenly, apparently out of nowhere when you watch the kill cam, he looks up and he wallbangs somebody through here. Now, of course, if that were me and I died like that, seeing that kill cam would absolutely raise an eyebrow. But instead of the first thing that comes to my mind being, that's an AI bot that Activision added to multiplayer, my first thought is, I wonder if this is one of those surfaces where you can see enemy name tags and diamonds through it, because for many, many years in Call of Duty, we've run into various situations where there's a certain wall where, for some reason, name tags will appear through that wall. In fact, we had a bomb angle spot just like that in Skid Row, and this is something the developers have patched now. But that was, of course, my first thought, is he probably saw his name tag through there. So what I did is I loaded up a match on Terminal with my testing account and my main account, set myself up in the same position, and I was wrong. The name tag doesn't show through that. However, the legs do. This is an area where clearly your character model will clip through that, and therefore when you're standing in that position, even if you're not a very good player, if you see some legs start to poke through a wall, you're gonna shoot those legs. And that's exactly what happened in that situation. Now, the kill cam didn't show that, but we already know from well over a decade of playing Call of Duty, you can't trust kill cams to be a perfect recording of what the enemy player saw. They are not recordings, they're simulations based on timestamps, and that has been established many times over the years.
So this is a really interesting one because for whatever reason, he didn't put the other bit of footage in where you can see the guy going in and actually testing this against bots, like actual bots in private match. And it shows the bot pretty much doing the same thing as this real human player does in the exact same spot. So I'm actually going to clip in Nero's video just to cover this because he covered the same thing, and it's just not just me.
Private match, and he tried to replicate it with actual AI bots. As you guys can see, here he is on Terminal. It's free for all. It's against AI bots, and he has radar always on, so we could try to replicate this as good as possible. He gets a kill there right in front of the airplane, and then he waits, and the bot, as we watch the bot's perspective, it's weird. The bot would only try shooting at Michael when he was laying down, not when he was standing up. But eventually the bot does get the kill. But look at the aim, look at the movement, look at the reloads. That looks like a lot of the players that we see in these clips. Like, if you want to see what like normal AI bots, or I guess recruit bots or whatever the hell might look like within Modern Warfare 3, you jump into a private match, you walk around, let them kill you, and you can just watch the kill cams. You can see exactly how they're playing, or maybe even you can spectate them and see how they're playing.
And the whole not trusting kill cams thing, yes, that's 100% a thing, but I recall, like, vividly, I mean vividly, as someone who's played this series for 16 years now, that whenever you would clip through surfaces, that would show up in the kill cam. 100%. Does anyone remember that? Can anyone back me up on that? Timestamp where I'm talking about this below, and tell me if you remember, like, somebody shooting your leg through, like, a container in Vacant in COD 4 or whatever. I was under the impression over the course of however many years we've had kill cams now that they've somehow improved to the point where, like, they haven't gotten worse since then, because why is the kill cam showing it back then but not now? I know kill cams aren't accurate, they never have been. They're very, I mean, it's kind of like the theater mode. It's kind of like how theater mode works in the Black Ops games, Treyarch games, where it's not 100% accurate, but it tries its best. But this is a weird one because even in the private match where it's showing the bot killing the person, there's no, like, people clipping through or whatever. You can see the dust coming off of it, which is a better explanation, if anything, like the dust showing movement up there. But it's just, I don't know. It's a weird, I don't know why you didn't go into the full explanation. It's a weird one to kind of dismiss without going into the full clip that I showed. But again, maybe he was stretched for time. I don't know. Again, these videos, I think it spans over an hour at this point of me covering this. So maybe he just didn't have the time or missed it or whatever. It's fine. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know how kill cams are that messed up in matches against bots in, like, private lobbies or whatever. But this game's weird. Clearly, I have too much faith in the game, too, to even think that this is a possibility. Honestly, I would have never thought that I would be clipping through that if I don't see it in the kill cam. I think from his perspective as a data guy who thoroughly tests everything, it's very obvious to go test for this. It's not obvious for me to test for this. It just isn't. Like, I don't know what else to tell you guys other than, like, a lot of this stuff, again, I don't even think it's a thing. Like, I wouldn't even fathom in 100 years that there are people that pay hundreds of dollars to go and shoot bots for camos in Call of Duty. It just does not register on me. I don't like, I would never do it, so I can't put myself in those shoes to think that way, to think that's even a thing that's possible without knowing, without somebody else telling me. So that's all I have to say about that. Let's cover the last bit here.
But finally, let's get into the most interesting one. And I'll admit, when I first saw this, I was like, whoa, there might be something here. And this is a clip he showed off on Rust, where it wasn't just one player acting weird, like they were using an anti-kick AFK script. This was just about every player in the lobby, and they also had very strange names that seemed to follow a similar format. And that's definitely a really odd one, until I stumbled across a new form of boosting services that some companies are offering now. And again, I'm not here to advertise these services. A little bit of Google searching will allow you to find these. But essentially, there are companies out there now that are taking advantage of these anti-kick AFK scripts, getting an almost full lobby of players running on multiple systems using these anti-kick AFK scripts, and then they sell you access to join these lobbies, because with this, you're playing in real public matches, so all of the XP, all of the camo challenges, everything that you do in that game will be counting toward your public match profile. And here's a little clip from one of the advertisements for one of these services. This is literally the company advertising what they do and showing off what they do. And big surprise, this once again looks a whole lot like that Rust clip. And it wouldn't be completely out of the question that somebody accidentally stumbles into one of these lobbies if there's an open slot available and one of the paying customers didn't get into that lobby in time and you took their place effectively, since they are in regular matchmaking, and therefore people can potentially matchmake against them. Especially, of course, if you're reverse boosting your account, which he was doing in order to find these situations.
So again, he claims that the people getting into these lobbies are reverse boosting, but we can't prove that, Ace. We just cannot prove that. I don't know what else to tell you other than there's no way to prove it. It's just a weird claim to make. These are clips from other people getting into these matches. I'm assuming by accident. They don't know what's going on, like you said, but I don't think they're reverse boosting. I think they're just regular matchmaking. So again, that's such a weird claim to make. I have been reverse boosting quite a bit, but these aren't my clips, is the thing. In fact, I really haven't found any hardcore data myself except for that Demon Juice character, which I just thought was odd. I mean, I was just going off of my game sense with that. Like, if you play these games long enough, you know when something's off, and his performance and the score at the end, everything just seemed off. So there was that. But regardless, let's keep the clip going here.
So there we go, the final piece of undeniable proof explained. Admittedly, not as easily as the other ones, but it didn't take a ton of research to figure this out. So does Activision or Call of Duty have AI bots in regular public matches for Modern Warfare 3? Maybe, but I've seen literally zero convincing evidence that this is the case. I've seen people make these claims in the past as well, again, with no convincing evidence. But the main thing I wanted to point out with this video, since I have seen this conspiracy theory spread a lot, and I think at this point it's fair to call this a conspiracy theory since every piece of undeniable proof is pretty easily explained, how many pieces of undeniable proof need to be debunked before you start questioning the claims and potential motivations of the person that is making those claims? If it were just one piece of undeniable proof, well, maybe that person just didn't fully grasp the situation. They made a little bit of a logical leap, a bit of an assumption, could have been an honest mistake. But when they continue to add up, one after another, after another, after another, now it's starting to look a little bit fishy, like that person is perhaps not being truthful. And here's the deal, I don't think Blame Truth is a dumb guy by any means. And I actually agree with him in many areas when it comes to critical thoughts toward the Call of Duty franchise, like matchmaking, for instance. I absolutely despise the matchmaking system that they're using, and I talk about that. So I don't hate the guy at all. I think there is actually a lot of overlap when it comes to our real opinions of the Call of Duty franchise, but I'm not a fan of the effect that he can have on the community when it comes to things like this, that are easily debunked and yet spread like wildfire throughout the community and weaponize that audience against the franchise using information that simply isn't true. Like I said at the beginning, there's plenty of real things to be complaining about with this franchise. And coming up with these conspiracy theories without properly testing them and then spreading them to your audience and spreading them throughout the community, that accomplishes nothing aside from taking attention away from the real issues, making the community look like a bunch of flat earthers in the eyes of the developers, and then finally getting a whole lot of views on YouTube because controversy sells, and the money for doing so is quite good, especially in the months of November and December. And there we go. That is going to wrap it up for today's video. Just wanted to point out that you can't necessarily trust everything you see online.
So he ends this by saying that I'm not really being honest with my intentions here. Truth be told, again, Ace, I don't think you've done the proper research. Again, it's forgivable though, because there's a lot of videos I've made pertaining to this topic. They're not all in that playlist I've made on the channel either. In other videos talking about other things, I cover, and you guys know this if you've watched the videos, like I always correct myself if I'm wrong. I've even said, and this is factual, like I've even said, I don't want to be right. I do not want to be right. I want to be proven wrong with most of the stuff that I'm just, coming up with theory-wise. Like I don't want to be right. So I think he could have done his research better. I could have done my research better. But again, I think we are both one-man shows. I think we're both very busy during the holiday season. And to be honest with you, you guys like the videos. It's very clear that you like when I cover the AI bot thing. So I try to do it whenever I have something new to show you. It's entertaining, clearly. Not trying to upset anyone, not trying to hurt anybody, not trying to make you guys seem like flat earthers. I think it's very interesting. I'm not going to say 100% that I'm convinced that there are AI bots. I think it's definitely a possibility. I think with how shady Activision is and the fact that they don't talk to us, there's so much in secret still that the devs can't talk about. I mean, is it any wonder we come up with this stuff when we don't have any information, any concrete information to go off of, when the devs are under an NDA not to even talk about skill-based matchmaking, for example? It's all weird. We need more direct communication. I think that is the main issue, and I think you could agree with me if you are watching this video that we need more direct communication from the devs. We need transparency. We don't get it with Call of Duty, and I don't understand it. Every other game under the sun that I personally play, even Dead by Daylight here, are very transparent with what's going on behind the scenes. Why can't Call of Duty be that way? In fact, I was hoping with these videos to get them to say, hey, there's no AI bots, or even you to make a video to debunk this like way before. I know you said you didn't want to cover it. Maybe you think it's ridiculous, and that's fine. But I would have appreciated a very thorough, like heavily researched video into this, more so than this one, because I think this one was a bit rushed. I don't think you got everything I was saying. I think that in a lot of instances you assumed that the lobbies were reverse boost lobbies, and that explained away a lot, but they just weren't. Or at least we couldn't prove that they were until we talked to the people that supplied the footage, and then we got to depend on them, to be honest. It's a big, rabbit hole. But either way, man, you are welcome to come onto the channel and talk about this in depth. If you would like to do it here, your channel, whatever, the door is open. No shade whatsoever. I understand it looks like maybe on the surface I'm being dishonest with it. I am not. I'm simply at the end of the day trying to make entertaining videos and get to the bottom of this. I think it's interesting. Call of Duty's boring. I think most people would agree. Already, the game's just kind of dry, man. I'm just trying to do something that's fun for me, that's fun for my viewers. Other people, other content creators may see it and roll with it, but they're not me, and my videos, again, I'm so ADD, ADHD that the topics span multiple videos. I get that it's a lot to cover, but no hard feelings, no shade. Just want to clarify everything. If you didn't see this comment on your channel, totally cool. Hopefully you see a little bit of this video. But again, yeah, you're more than welcome to come onto the channel and talk about this. I hope you guys enjoyed, though, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one. Peace.
Here's some parting advice.